Lanterns premieres on HBO in August, and a new report dropped earlier this week shedding more light on what to expect from the series. Amidst these new details is information that should also make Hal Jordan fans worry about Kyle Chandler's version of the character. The Green Lantern-focused upcoming DC TV show is taking a significantly different approach with the character than it did with the previous live-action version. While 2011's Green Lantern chronicled the origin story of Ryan Reynolds' Hal, Chandler's Hal will be introduced in Lanterns as a veteran Green Lantern who is training Aaron Pierre's John Stewart as his replacement. While it was already known that Hal and John's relationship in the TV series would be strained, the latest Lanterns update provides more context about why this is. Showrunner Chris Mundy also shared new comments about Hal's time being trained by Ulrich Thompson's Sinestro, as well as revealing that Lanterns will take place across 2 periods of time. Taking this new information into account, there's enough to strengthen the possibility that Lanterns will take Hal down a dark path. Specifically, just like what happened when he became corrupted by Parallax in the comics, there's a scenario where he would shift from being a hero to a villain in the DCU. The new Lanterns update has me concerned for Hal Jordan. Hal and John's strained relationship in Lanterns goes beyond the buddy cop trope of partners initially not getting along. Usually, a new Green Lantern is selected by the Emerald Ring of Willpower because of the individual's ability to overcome fear after the ring's previous user dies. This is what happened to Hal when Abin Sur perished on Earth. However, in the DCU, John is directly selected by the Guardians of the Universe, the leaders of the Green Lantern Corps. This is the first time this has ever happened, and it's said that the Guardians had just cause for this. Since Hal is training John as his replacement, this could be viewed as the Guardians having a specific issue with Hal and, thus, the intervention with John. It's further emphasized how Hal is John's reluctant mentor, as he finds the trainee a constant source of ire because of how he became a Green Lantern. This sounds like, rather than Hal willingly retiring and going through the motions of making sure John can be an effective Green Lantern, he's being forced out of the job. That is enough to warrant concern for Hal's well-being. But Mundy also posed the question of, what did Hal take away from Sinestro that was good or bad? Perhaps Hal is incorporating some not-so-ideal methods into John's training that he learned from Sinestro, who has already been banished from the Green Lantern Corps by the time Lanterns begins. Finally, there are the 2 timelines in Lanterns to now consider. Hal and John's investigation in Rushville, Nebraska, takes place in 2016, while the mystery at the center of the 2026 storyline is being kept secret. That said, take into consideration that during and after the events of Superman, there are 2 confirmed Earth-based Green Lanterns in the DCU, John and Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner. Can Lanterns follow Hal Jordan's villainous comic story? Putting all these new puzzle pieces together, there's a compelling argument to be made that something bad will happen to Hal in Lanterns. Only, rather than dying, he would instead follow in Sinestro's footsteps and go rogue. In this scenario, however, what's difficult to ascertain is whether this TV show could effectively adapt Hal's Parallax arc from the comics. While it's impossible to tell a Green Lantern story without those inherent cosmic elements, Lanterns is also taking a more grounded approach with its story, boasting a tone similar to fellow HBO show True Detective. Parallax, however, is as fantastical as it gets. Even ignoring when it was revealed that Parallax was actually the embodiment of fear that possessed Hal, Hal's time as Parallax in the 1990s saw him destroying the Green Lantern Corps, attempting to rewrite history, and ultimately gaining redemption by sacrificing himself to reignite Earth's sun. That's a lot to ask for a show like Lanterns to come anywhere close to covering, especially working on a smaller budget compared to if the story were being told as a movie. Hal's villainy could be depicted in various ways. HBO. If Hal turning evil is a realistic option for Lanterns, it will likely be handled in a toned-down way. For example, he could still become corrupted by the yellow energy of fear, but he wouldn't don a new costume or suddenly start trying to reshape reality. Hal's corruption could also explain Guy Gardner being a Green Lantern by 2026, since there's nothing indicating he'll factor into the 2016 storyline. Lanterns could present Hal's fall from grace in 2016, whether it be through a toned-down Parallax or through some other method. Then in 2026, he could either resurface as a fleshed-out antagonist, or it will slowly be revealed that he's either dead or exiled to some other corner of the universe. If Hal is alive and stays that way until the end of the season, then the door is open for this dark version of the character to continue being fleshed out. Since Mundy envisions Lanterns as a multi-season show, then Season 2 would be the most logical option to make that happen if it's ordered. Another option is bringing Hal back for a different DCU project. There's already a precedent for this on the Green Lantern front. Guy appeared in Peacemaker Season 2's first episode, following Superman, and both he and John will be in Man of Tomorrow. If Hal does become Parallax, then including him in a movie would be a good way to present him in that identity in a manner that's more faithful to the comics. For now, fans who prefer to see Hal depicted as a hero rather than a villain should be concerned about what awaits him in Lanterns. Something is going to happen to Hal and John when they visit Nebraska in 2016, and based on the available information, it's not a stretch to speculate that it'll take the Elder Green Lantern down a dark path.